Okay, here we are back, and I hope you can see that's even bigger now. And this is basically the biggest that I can go. So I hope that this is better. I hope that some of you can say, yeah, this is crystal clear now. This is good. Way better. Okay, this is what we wanted. Okay, let me restart. So we are going to work on this package, laravel-model-cleanup. What this package does, it makes it easy to delete all old records of your Eloquent model. So you get a gets cleaned up interface. You should implement it in a model. You need to implement cleanup. You get a builder instance. You can put where clause in there, and basically what the package does is we will tack on delete here and delete all the records that you don't want anymore. And here we are going to delete all the records that are older than a year. If we take a look at the config file, there are a couple of options that we have. We can put the models which we want to clean up in here. So you can put all the models from your project here, or you can just add a directory here, and we will scan that directory for models that have that gets cleaned up interface, and we will call that cleanup method. That's what it does. And there's even an option here that basically should be more in the vicinity of directories, because what this says here is if they are directories or subdirectories within those directory, look for those models to be cleaned up as well. So it's a pretty nice package. It's made even 5 years ago here, so I guess this is one of the oldest ones, and I think it shows a little bit. I use this package in most of the projects I work on, but lately I haven't been too happy with like the fact that we have that builder here and that you need to have your own calculation here. Also the directory scanning, I don't use that. What I do mostly in my projects is I put in the models here and just be done with it. So I want to make this package a little bit lighter. And this was really kickstarted when I worked a little bit on Oh Dear, where some of the things that this package does really broke down because of the scale that Oh Dear operates on. Let me show you that. Let's go to the source code of Oh Dear. And you can see here in the config directory that we have that model cleanup thing, and we have some of the models here. And if you take a look at one of this one, probably we have a cleanup here, and we need to do that calculation here and format it ourselves. I just don't like that anymore. And the problem with Oh Dear is that some of the database tables are huge, because Oh Dear does like thousands of checks per minute, I think even tens of thousands. And some of the tables that we want to clean up are very, very large. And when we try to do a query like this, it logs the table, and the cleanup method fails. So for one of the tables, I wrote a specific command, cleanup old runs table, where I basically delete runs in batch. So I'm going to do more or less the same as what the package does. So I'm going to put a where clause on a query, and I'm going to delete it, but I'm also going to put a limit on it so that this deletion query doesn't take that long. And I'm going to loop until the work is done. And it might seem a little bit ugly, but I talked with Matthias, my partner in crime, with Oh Dear about this, and he said, this is basically the way to go if you have like a table that lives where there's a lot of activity the whole time, and where the record count is very high. This is a pretty good way to handle this. And I want to have this in the package as well, so that I don't have like an extra command here. So let's work a little bit on that. So that's where I'm coming from, and that's why I want to revamp the package a little bit. Okay, enough with Odir. I was also working on event sourcing a little bit earlier today. Let's open up a model cleanup here. And I just cloned it, so you can see that it is still indexing here. So probably the fans will start spinning. Let's see if I installed all dependencies, all the test run, and basically everything runs smoothly. So that's nice. So I think I have 3 goals. I want to make this easier to use. I want to, the second thing that I want to do is delete some features that I don't use, namely the directory scanning. I don't use that. I want to make the package a little bit lighter. And third, I want to update the package a little bit to SPACY standards, because the standards that we use for packages at SPACY, they have changed the past few years. And probably, here some old things will still be in here. So maybe let's think a little bit first on what kind of API that we want. This is something that I mostly do before diving into code. How do I want this to even work? And I think it's nice to have like an implementation, I guess, so that there's some cleanup thing here. But returning a query, I don't like that very much anymore, because I want to trigger more behavior. I want to trigger that chunk behavior. Maybe I want to put some other things there, so I don't want to return like a query anymore. Is a format on alt8 necessary in the where clause? I actually don't know. I think that Laravel nowadays just handles that out of the box. Maybe there was a point in time where that wasn't the case, and that's why that format is there. And all the tests just passed, so I didn't remove it. I actually don't know. We'll probably discover it while we are working on the test of the revamp of this package. Okay, so I don't want to have that builder anymore here. What do I want? I think maybe we could return like maybe some cleanup configuration or strategy. Maybe this is just some like configuration thing, so it can be just an object. So new cleanup, and maybe we can have some options here. New cleanup, maybe older than days, older than 10 days, or you can have older than a year here. But I think that this is already better than letting a user calculate this. So older than 10 days, I like that. Mostly in the projects where I use this package, I've used the days thing. We can do other things as well. We can do older than, and then maybe some kind of carbon instance. So if you still want to calculate yourself, you can do it. What should we have in here? I guess that for some cleanups, you don't want to delete everything. Maybe you want to delete some kind of records that have a status. So I think we should have some kind of where clause in here where you can pass like a function that accepts a builder, so you can scope it a little bit yourself if you want to. So where is maybe not the best thing. Query, maybe you can improve on that too. Okay, we'll think about that later. What do I want? I want that chunked behavior that you saw me doing in Odir. So maybe chunk by or something, chunk by 1,000. And if we tack on that, then we are going to chunk and do the loop kind of thing. Yeah, in Odir, you could argue, yeah, you should continue cleaning up records until you don't clean up records anymore. But let's take a look back at Odir. There was an interesting case there. So here I stopped deleting when we deleted less than 1,000 runs. If I stop deleting when we had 0 runs, when we deleted nothing, that mostly wouldn't happen because there are runs created all of the time. So I needed to stop it, even though there were still things to clean up. But this command, it cleans up like tens of thousands of records. So if there are like 1,000 left, that's good. That's better than continue this command without an end. So I think I also want something to stop the chunking. Stop when, and then a function, something like that. Maybe that's good behavior to have. I think I like that a lot better than just having the query and having a separate command if I want to have chunk by. Let's see in the comments what you think of it. I'm a little bit thirsty, so I'm going to drink a little bit. It's a warm day in Belgium. So let's see here. An API for soft deleted records too. Well, I've actually never used the soft deletes. I kind of hate it a little bit. I try to avoid it. I don't know why. For most of the packages, if they have like the support for soft deletes, then somebody contribute to it. I mostly don't like working on features that I don't want myself, so I'm not going to put it in my release, but I'm open for a PR if it's easy to add. Giving the user control is better. Looks good so far. Yeah, I think so too. How would you prefer to let the user define which column is used? Yeah, that's indeed a good one. Mostly it's created at older than maybe there's a couple of things we could do. We could say like use column here. Maybe you could define that in the config file as well. Like this is the column that you need to use for every object. I'm going to stick to created that for now, and maybe we'll improve on it a little bit later, but I like it. What was you saying about soft delete? That I don't like it for my projects very much because it complicates kind of every query, and you need to keep it in mind that it's a soft delete. And mostly my projects, I just haven't had the need for it. So that's a little bit my thoughts on it. But I wouldn't say it's bad if you use it. I personally didn't have a need for it yet. Okay, now we've thought a little bit about this. Let's go through the package and see if there are any things that I need to put up to standards first. So maybe the first thing that we're going to do is create a branch where we're going to put this work on. So the latest version is 2. So what did I change here already? I had the README, right? Okay. Git checkout. I already created the version 3 branch for another project. So here we are. Commit. Hop. Commit v3, and this is the start of v3. Mostly I like having like a PR open so people know that I'm working on a V3. So let's do that now. So this is a work in progress version of V3. Create the pull request, so that's already there. Okay. Let's see. Let's go from top to bottom here. So we have run tests here, and we use all the versions of Laravel, and I already know that I want to use short closures here. So I'm going to drop support for all older versions. I'm not going to care about older Laravel versions. All of my stuff is on Laravel 7 now. Maybe I'll add this back in, or maybe somebody adds it in via PR. We'll see. But mostly I just only work on like the latest versions and don't care about older versions. I know there's a new version of the checkout here. Let's see here, extensions, so that's good. Execute test, so this looks good for me. Composer.json. Yolita worked on this package before. She was an intern, and she made this as like an intern project, so that's nice. We're going to use 7.4, only Laravel 7. I don't know why this parser is used anymore. Can't really think of it. Is this needed? Is this namespace being used? You can see that it's a very small package. I'm going to delete it for now. We'll see if it bites me. PHP unit is at version 9 now, I believe. Orchestra, only latest versions. Mockery, maybe I used in the test, we'll see it in a bit. Cleanup, providers. This is good, reversibility. The only thing that's missing here is what I tend to use nowadays for like styling is our own script for that. So I'm going to put on a new package here and just copy some stuff from that. So we get some nice CS fixes here. So I'm going to add the CS fixer. Yeah. Let's see if this is good. Check out version 2. Ski, all good, all good. Yeah, seems good. So we need to have the configuration file for that as well. In Git attributes, I don't want to have that. PHP units, PHP CS cache, I don't need that. In the composer.json, I need to have the dependencies for that, so let's grab those. So it's the CS fixer, we need that. Yeah, and we also need the formatting scripts. So I can do it here. Okay, let's pull that in, composer update. Let me check the chat while that is running. Delete data, should actually delete data. Yeah, okay. I don't know the context of that statement. Laravel uses latest created that. Yeah, maybe we can use created that as a second argument to older than days. I like that. What do you use for helpdesk? I assume helpdesk for oh dear. We use freshdesk there. I see you have a stop when method. I don't have it now. I want to add it and I don't know how it will work. So we're going to discover that in a bit. So I have the CS fixer here now. So let's see if it actually works. Formatted. It has formatted the stuff. Okay. Let's see here. This should be GitHub Spatie. We now have a sponsorship page on GitHub itself. So adding this will put in that heart symbol on the GitHub repo with sponsor us. And if you like the stream, consider sponsoring Spatie. Scrutinizer, I know that we're not going to use that one. I'm going to delete it in a bit. And I guess this is all good. Let's see here. This is also good. Okay, let's go to here's that sponsor button. Let's go to the settings and delete a couple of old services that we don't use anymore. So Scrutinizer, we're not going to use that anymore. So I'm going to delete that already. And the style CI hook isn't here yet, so that's good. So I'm going to push this already. Cool. Do our tests still pass? Our tests are failing a little bit. Here, parser factory. We use that for that parser that I just deleted. We use that for finding the class names from a directory, but I don't want to scan directories anymore. I haven't used it myself, so I consider it a little bit of dead weight. I guess that some people like it, but yeah, I only want to have like lightweight packages with features that I find useful for myself. I'm a little bit thirsty again, so I'm going to drink. Yeah, all this talking makes you a little bit thirsty. Yeah, I'm going to continue. We'll take a look at the questions a little bit later. What am I going to do first? So everything is committed. Some of the tests fail because we don't have that parsing thing. Maybe the first thing that I'll do is just nuke the directory support because I don't want that anymore. So recursive, nope, don't need it anymore. Maybe let's also take a look at the configuration or at the service provider. It's kind of simple, so I guess this is all good. I don't need to change anything for here now. Yeah, here is that force cleanup thing for like if you have the soft deletes. I'm going to remove that as well because I don't need it myself. Yeah, these things we don't need. So this is the command that will actually clean everything up. And yeah, this is how the functionality of the package gets triggered. I didn't show you that yet. I guess it is in the README. Let's go to the read mode here. So if you want to actually delete everything, probably it says here somewhere that you need to run that command. Configure models to remove, force remove command. Yeah, when running the console command, everything will be cleaned up. So that's this command. Generally, I don't like these comments anymore because yeah, the console command description. Yeah, my variable is named description. It's a string. Yeah, this is basically dead weight. That's why I don't like these anymore. Here probably we have the file system because we want to scan those directories. So I don't want that anymore. And this is actually, now that I'm here, this is basically the wrong way to do this. So why is this the wrong way to do this? I don't know if you know it, but in a Laravel app, if you have a artisan command and you put something in the constructor, this constructor is going to get run each time your application starts up. So not when this command will be run, but just on registration. So nowadays, I just don't want to use the constructor anymore because it will run when it isn't needed. And if you need a dependency, just put it in handle because you have like method resolving here. So Laravel will actually give you the file system if you put it in the handle method. So I don't think there is any good reason to use the constructor now. So yeah, I'm going to delete it anyways because I don't need that file system anymore. So cleaning soft deletes models. No, we're not going to do soft deletes anymore. Cleaning normal models. So yeah, that's what we are going to do. Get the models that should be cleaned up. I guess that this will become very simple now because we want to grab all the models from the directory, and I don't want to have support for that. Let's see here. Yeah, I think I can just delete it all, actually. Clean up, this is where the work is being done, so I need to have that. So I'm going to just remove this. Force cleanup, I don't need it anymore. See how much code that you can save if you just want to have the features that you want yourself. Models from each directory. So okay, yeah, here we are going to take a look at, if you specify the directory, we will reach into each file and see if you actually implement that interface, and if the file contains a class. We don't need to do that anymore. Get class names in a directory. It becomes so simple. Just deleting stuff. Cleanable models. Let's see what we need to do here. So we have all those models, and for each of them we are going to call a certain method. I think we can do it very simple now. So the cleanable models, I think it will now be like a collection of how's the config file called? Model cleanup. Model cleanup models, and we'll just work with that. So what we are going to do is just collect them all and just do some operations. So here we will have like a string. So the first mapping that we have, let's take a look, is a class name. Yeah, and we want to have like an instantiated object of that. So we want to have like a new version of that, and then on each one of those, and at this point this should be a class that implements gets cleaned up. We should do something here. Gets cleaned up is like, maybe I can just do that model here, so you know this is probably a model which implements that interface. Model, what's in this interface? Cleanup, but probably we will do something else, because cleanup won't give us a query anymore, but it will give us some kind of configuration object, right? So I don't need this. Let's first clean this up. I made like some kind of mistake here, like this. Cleanup, does this recognize? Query is missing. Yeah, okay, so it's delete stuff. So we're probably going to do that in some other kind of way. What did we do earlier? Yeah, so earlier we called the cleanup. Yeah, we gave it the query and we just deleted everything here, and we send out an event. Model was cleaned up. So I kind of like that we have like an event, but I think nowadays I just don't use a verb anymore in there. So model cleaned up, does that sound right? Model cleaned up, model was cleaned up. I don't know. Probably we'll revisit it a little bit later, and we'll give it a class. The number of deleted records. Yeah, okay. Okay, that's good enough for now. I know that it doesn't work, but it's cleaned up enough for me to work on it in a little bit. Gets cleaned up, returns a query. Yeah, this just isn't true anymore, so just going to delete that for now. Let's take a look at the tests. Yeah, the test had like a lot of kind of models just to test that directory scanning behavior. So we have like models in the subdirectory, we have like things that are not a class and we shouldn't touch that. Uncleanable item. Yeah, so this one doesn't implement that interface, so we shouldn't do that. And this is actually like the one model that we should clean up. So I don't think that I need these ones anymore. So I'm going to delete these as well. We have a database SQLite. I think I can use an in-memory database. We'll just discover that a little bit later. The force cleanup tests, I'm not going to support soft deletes out of the box, so it can find class name from a file, so find from directory. So these are like the directory scanning tests. Can delete. These are like the regular tests. Can clean up the models from a string. Cleanable item. Without untouched, so we're not going to scan directories anymore, so I don't need to test. It will clean up the subdirectories. Nope. Test. We don't need this test anymore. You can see how much code there was for like that directory scanning thing that I don't use myself. Set config. That cleans up directory. I probably don't need this. I'll just do that in the base test class in a bit. We have some things here that some namespaces that don't exist anymore. So let's just format it and it will probably delete that for me. Yep. In the test case, let's see here. Fired events. I think this was put in before actually Laravel had those handy fakes to test which events were fired. So I had my own methods to see which events were fired. So I basically listened for everything. I just added them to an array so I could make some assertions on that. We don't need that anymore. So I'm going to delete that as well. This is like an old style of configuration. So we reach into the app, into the config. But nowadays I just use like the config method here. I think it's slightly more readable. You could argue like, hey, what if the config function isn't there? Yeah, I guess it'll always be there. Maybe not in the Lumen project, but I basically don't care about Lumen. What is this? So here we create our own SQLite database. I guess that I programmed this before I even knew that SQLite had an in-memory database. So you should imagine that this is code that I wrote like a couple of years ago, or like the intern wrote. And yeah, I don't want to hide myself behind the intern. Me myself also wrote a couple of years ago. So there's a lot of things that can be improved here. Nowadays, this is probably the purest way to create like a migration in your tests. But nowadays I just do schema, just use the facade for this. I think it's fine. think it's more readable, because this is what you do in like your actual Laravel app. And you're not going to do this funny thing in your migration. Do I actually need all these tables? I only need this one's cleanable items, and probably I'm going to rename it because it will be my I will probably only have like one test model. Uncleanable items, subdirectory, cleanable items. We don't need that anymore. Create database records. Here I created some stuff that could get cleaned up. I actually don't need that anymore because I probably will use some factories here. I know now how I can register factories to do this kind of work. So I can delete that as well. Create database records. So that function can be gone as well. Set up database. That probably is good. Get temporary directory. I probably won't need that anymore. Get fired events. I can use like the Laravel fake now, so that can be gone. Cleanable items. I'm going to use this. I'm going to rename this to something more generic, test models, something like that. And this can also be test model, like that. So I'm not introducing any new functionality here. I'm just cleaning up some stuff that I don't need anymore, so we can have a little bit of a lighter feel here. I also don't need this temporary directory anymore. Here is that database that I created. I actually don't know by heart how you create like an in-memory database. Probably you're shouting at me in the stream like, Frick, how come that you don't know this? I hope that this is right. Then you're nodding, yeah, this is how you do it. But let me know in the comments if this is like how you create an in-memory database. Speaking of comments, let's go take a look at the comments here. Arrow functions on the collection stuff. Yeah, we will probably use arrow functions. Late night streaming. Yep, late night streaming. Off to sleep. Okay, have a good night. Frick, what was that composer format thing that you used a couple of minutes ago? Let's take a look again at the scripts. Yeah, it's this. So I'm going to run the CS fixer, and we will use like the same configuration that the GitHub action uses. So it's this one, and I can clean up this as well because this one comes from another kind of package. So I don't have a bootstrap. I don't have that directory. So I want to scan source tests. No blade files, but this one doesn't have blade files. And yeah, I use these rules for all our packages and our projects. You can take a look at it in the repo. I'm not going to go over it one by one. Do you use dark mode sometimes? Actually, almost never. If it burns your eyes, then probably your screen is too bright. You should probably put down the brightness a little bit if that is a problem. I could talk a lot about dark mode, but I'm not going to into that right now. Okay, with the package sorta cleaned up, maybe let's go to a couple of these files here to see if there's anything that catches my eye that I want to do different. This is fine, I guess. Okay, let's just push the cleanup. I guess everything is broken now. Some updates were rejected because probably there were some git pull origin some style fixes by the GitHub action. Conflict in the cache. What? Didn't I ignore you? Did I put that in a wrong file? Yeah, I put that in a wrong file. So it isn't in the Git attributes, or actually, yeah, no, this just doesn't belong in there. This should be in the Git ignore. I can just delete this, commit it, just push 233, and I guess that'll work now. Okay. So new functionality. So I already put some ideas in the README of what I wanted to do. So what I want to do is I want to let a model return some kind of configuration object that makes it very easy to define how like the cleanup procedure should behave. I wonder, because there are basically like two kinds of strategies to do this, like very simply with older than, or you can chunk. And I wonder if I should let the user use like an explicit strategy. So like this one, return some kind of strategy, and you can have like a chunked strategy where like you need to pass these methods, and you have like a simple strategy where only these methods are on. Or if I should just combine it all with like one configuration object and just trust the user to do the right things here. The benefit of having like one configuration object is that it probably is easier to use, because you don't have to think about it. You can just use this one object, just call that. I think the benefit of strategies is that a user could basically invent another strategy and just use that here, and just have like an strategy clause and just do whatever you want with it. I guess if you want to have like something really, really custom, you probably wouldn't want to do it in like a strategy kind of class. You probably would write your own command like I've done with the Odir. So maybe I shouldn't do the strategy route, but maybe just that configuration route. Yeah, I'm just thinking aloud. So you know, how the process is. It isn't something like clean that I know up front how it's gonna work. It's just considering things like ways to do it. And mostly I think more about how the user is going to do it, and not so much implementation. Let's see if anybody has something to say in the comments about it. I think the configuration object is more flexible. I agree. Yeah, and then there are some things about dark mode and light mode, but I don't want to go into there. My colleague Brent basically has a blog post, and I think a video on that. So go to stitcher.io and take a look at, I think, just search for visual encode and you'll see it on his blog. Okay, let's just do the configuration object. And for those going to sleep, good night. What's the time actually? It's okay. Okay, let's do the cleanup configuration. So cleanup. And what are we going to do here? So let me split my screen horizontally. So I want to have the object here, and I want to have what I wrote here. So or maybe let's just add it in a comment so I can keep an eye on it and I don't need to use split screen. So this is what we want here. So we have an older than days here, and then we have like the number of days, right? Older than days. And probably we'll also have like that public function older than, which gets like a carbon instance. I'm going to use carbon interface, so people can use carbon immutable as well. Probably these two will be chainable. So let's return self here. And I wonder how I'm going to reach into this object from the code that will actually do the cleanup. I wonder if, because this is going to get a closure, right? Older than days. And I wonder if I should have like an older than closure on this object and just wrap what you pass here also in a closure so that it is like the same thing. Then we have the query then chunk by stop. Yeah, maybe I'm going to do this later on. Yeah, let's just do the simplest thing first, write test for that, and then just carry on. Well then, yeah, and it shouldn't get a closure. It gets a carbon, so I can, yeah, maybe have like a carbon instance here as well. So yeah, let's just do that. Just have like the carbon instance here. Forget about the thing about the closure. I was a little bit mistaken here. Older than days. Let's have like protected older than, and this is a carbon interface, older than days, and this older than is now sub days, number of days, and that's older than. Actually, I'm going to make this public. Because otherwise, how I'm going to reach into that older than, then I should have like a get older than. Yeah, I'm going to make it public for now. Okay, let's see in the command. Now we're going to do all the stuff to just make this this work. So we have the class name here, and here gets clean up, and we're not going to pass anything here, but we're going to return a cleanup thing here, and maybe I should make it a little bit explicit here. a cleanup configuration. Maybe there's like a more eloquent name for that, but let's use something like this for now. So it'll return that. Back to the command here. We are going to, clean up the model. I wonder if I just should already get that configuration here, or should do that there. I'm going to do it here so that this one remains very, very clean, that you have like the recipe here for that. So this one gets cleaned up. This is probably a model here, and I can use like arrow functions here. Gotta put return there to trigger PHP Storm here. So yeah, I kind of like this. This is what we're going to do. We're going to reach in to the config, and for each model there, we are going to clean it up. Yeah, I like it. So here we have the cleanup configuration that we should have. Model. Why don't I get like auto completion here? Because this is defined as a static function here. We don't need to do that statically here anymore. Clean up. Yeah, and this gets my configuration. And now I should build the query, right? So we have that model, and I guess I can just do query. Where created that is smaller than cleanup configuration older than, and delete it. Would that work? And here we have number of deleted records. Yeah. And we can send out the event here, and here you get the class. I wonder if it's handier if you have like the model itself here, and I think that's maybe better. Yeah. We don't need this anymore. I can just have like typed properties here, and this is a gets cleaned up. What I don't like about that I type in the interface here is that now the code doesn't know that this is probably a model, and it should be a model, right? Yeah, if a model had an interface, I would probably extend the interface here. What I could also do is just not have the interface. Just do it in another way. Let's stick on with the interface for now. We'll just revisit it a little bit later. Model cleaned up. So we have that gets cleaned up, and this is basically like the model. This is also a model, And nowadays I really like the explicitness of having like an event suffix here. Oh, not on the namespace, of course, but on the class. This should be the model, of course. And I also want to have from model class, and here I should grab like the model, right? Model class is get class model. So we have some nice output there. Cleaning models, maybe do start cleaning models. Let's give some output here as well. Cleaning, and I'm going to put model class a little bit higher so I can use it here as well. Cleaning model class, like that. I think that's fine, and then we can go over to the tests. Let's run composer format to get rid of any imports that we don't use anymore. Be gone, like that. Okay. Let's take a look in the comments. Never stop coding. I'm probably going to stop coding in an hour or so because I need some sleep as well. But I'm feeling good now. Remember the second parameter for the column. I'll add that. I'll add a note for that so I don't forget it. To do, consider adding parameter for column name. I'm thinking chunked is a better name for the method if you want to prefer a default chunk size. Yeah, maybe you can indeed have like a chunk here, and if you don't give anything, then we'll chunk by the tens of thousands. We'll see. Could you pass the cleanup instance through the model method so the user doesn't have to init and return it? That's interesting. What's the cleanup instance through the model? I actually don't know exactly what you're getting at. Yeah, Patrick, if you're still watching, maybe you could add a code example in the comments for me, or just write up a gist that I can just show people what you mean. Hey, Lise. You could use mixin. Ah, yeah, that's a good one. I could indeed use mixin on that. I'll consider adding it later. I think it just means passing an instance of the cleanup configuration to the cleanup model on the interface. Ah, yeah, so you have like a cleanup configuration here, so you just don't have to new it up like that. That's interesting. Is that what you mean, Patrick? Just have like a instance being passed there. So let me go to the test model here. Yes, indeed. So let's change this one as well. So I don't need to specify table name anymore because my table name will be test models. I need to do that. Timestamps false. I like the timestamps. function cleanup, and here we should have like the cleanup configuration then, cleanup configuration. And this also returns that cleanup configuration. And now I can just do return cleanup configuration older than days 10. And this is how like the user would use the would use the package. And I kind of like it that you don't have to do the calculation here anymore. What I really don't like is like, that long cleanup configuration name. Maybe we can come up with something smaller here, because this just feels too Java for me. I'm a fan of long names when they're necessary, but my gut feeling is that we can have a more elegant name for this. You could skip the return and make it void. Yeah, that's indeed good, because it's an object, right? Yeah, that's nice. I like that. Just adding void here, and this already feels way more lighter to me. Void. What is this? Because it isn't void in the interface. Friends, I really like this kind of stream because you're thinking for me. It's like pair programming with the world. I kind of like it. Sorry for all the mistakes that you see me making. Okay. Let's change up a few things at the command here. So, so here we should make our cleanup configuration. So cleanup configuration is new cleanup configuration. And we'll just pass it through here. And I don't need to get it back because it actually, we've marked it as void. So, and now we can do this. Yeah, so this is kind of nice. Okay, cool. Yeah, I kind of like it. Void. So we have our test model here, older than days. I guess we're ready to write our test for this. So that's good. Okay. What am I going to do first? Maybe I could look this up, but I'll just ask it. Maybe you can answer it to me in the chat. Is this like the way to have like an in-memory SQLite database? Just let me know. I'll just start writing the test here. So database cleanup test. Why database? This is an area. I'm just going to rename this to more generic, just cleanup test. It can delete old records from a database. Yeah. Clean up all in the config file. Not going to do that all now. So test model, we should probably have like a way to create like 20 test models. I wonder if I'm going to create a factory for this or not, or if I'm just going to do it manually, because it's actually not too much work to do it. Because all the seeds will be more or less the same, I think. Yeah, just let's do it very simple for now. In memory DB is all right. It's nice. Let's see here. Hey Nuno, welcome to the stream. Cleanup config might clean up the method signature. Yeah. So this will be config, yeah. This will be a breaking change in PHP 8, so we have to name this right. And cleanup configuration. I saw a comment of somebody that said, yeah, maybe we can have like just config here. Yeah. Let's try and see how it feels. Config. Clean config. I think we need to be a little bit more explicit. Cleanup config is maybe better. It's already smaller than configuration. Yeah. All right. This is good. Yeah. Now that Nuno is watching, maybe I should consider using pest for this. But maybe that's a separate stream where we convert maybe this test suite to pest. I don't have it in my fingers right now. Maybe that's a fun stream to do with Nuno or on my own. Yeah. How am I actually going to test this? I'm thinking of just firing the command and just seeing the result of the command, not doing any tests about like the implementation, but just running the command and testing like what is the behavior that command has on the models. Should I do that? Yeah, I think that's nicer than just testing the loose parts. Okay, so we need to have some models. How am I going to do this? Yeah, we need to seed some models, right? So let's do that first. So I'm going to manually seed these models for now. Maybe we'll do that a little bit later, a little bit different later on. So we are going to seed some models. How am I going to do this? Number of models. And what I want to do is like have each model have like a different created that, right? I want to have like a model created today, a model created yesterday, and so on, you know? But I also want to test that models in the future aren't going to get deleted as well. Now, you know, let's just go with it. We'll see where we end up. So for each range 1 number of models as I'm going to create a new test model create. And created that should be now minus the days of the loop. And then I have like different number of days, right? And I think I should have today as well, so I can start at this range. And now I have like, if I put in 5, I have 5 models for one for today and then for the 4 previous days. Let's see, in that test model, I need a way to put in like the config here. What I want to do is, in my test, I want to be able to specify which config should be used here. But it gets passed here and it doesn't get returned. Maybe I shouldn't have like this class here. Maybe this is like an excellent case for like anonymous classes. So I can put in the config right in the test itself. All right, let's just try to do that. So we are going to create a new class here. You know what? Let's make this one empty. We're going to make it an abstract class. We are going to put the table name back here. So we have test models. And now we can extend from test model. What are you complaining? It should implement cleanup, so that's good. Add method subs, cleanup. Oh, did PHP store make like a syntax error here? Should we have like a bracket here? I actually don't use anonymous classes that much. Let's clean it a little bit up to see what we have. What is the problem here? Expecting statement. But there's an interesting problem here. So now we have like an anonymous model here, but my command is going to use the models in the config. I don't know if that's going to actually work, if how I'm going to put in like the class name here. That's kind of interesting. What has happened here? Maybe there's something broken here. Let me clean up this first. Is this bracket? What is wrong here? Yeah, okay, like that. Let's see here. Lovely format. Config seems a bit generic. I agree. Makes me think of a config file. Are you using pest at Laravel? That's for Nuno to answer. I assume you can use it either. Let's see here. So we have a test class here. Let's actually see what the class of this one is. Oh. Framework exception. Why actually? This is an anonymous class here. IDD here. Unserialize. I actually don't know what's the problem here. It's probably maybe something here. No, this all seems fine to me. If I put this away, then this test did not perform any tests. Can you do not a get class of a anonymous class? Yeah, this works. Maybe just echo it. Maybe DD can't stand it. Yeah, this is our anonymous class name here. But I actually don't know if it's going to work if I'm going to put that into the config file dynamically. Yeah, there's only one way to find out. Let's see. Move the cleanup query logic to a class you could test without the command and have an easier integration test for the command. Yeah, I could do that, I guess. Maybe that's easier than just trying to do this all. But maybe I want to give it a go. But because if it works, it's kind of nice, because then the test has like, it tests everything, also the command itself. So I have 100% certainty that that it will work. So I'm going to give it one step to just do it all with the command. Alright, let's dynamically set something here. So we are going to set model cleanup models to an array, and it's the only key that it has is the test class thing here. Yeah, so let's dd that to see if that actually works. Model cleanup, and I get that serializable thing again. I actually don't know what the problem here is. And this is actually the output that I expect. Just to print R. Does DD have like a problem with that special character here or something? Yeah, this is what I want. And the key was models, right? Yeah. Okay. Let's just try to run that that command. So cleanup models class cert exit code. Let's see if it runs without doing any extra assertions here. It doesn't. Aha. This is already good, right? That we already get through here. Let's see if we actually get that model here. Yeah, DD is probably going to do something strange here, but let's see if we get there. Yeah, I think we get there. So this is kind of nice that we can set an anonymous clause in our config and use it here. I like it. Okay, so now we can take a look at the actual error. Older than must not be accessed before initialization. So this is a PHP 7.4 kind of thing. So this isn't initialized yet. I'm thinking, yeah, I can solve this by making this optional, but do I want to do that actually? No, let's do it for now. And that wasn't the problem. I should probably also initialize it, I guess. Illegal operator and value in 35. Probably done something wrong with the query here. Where query? Is this maybe because we use like a carbon instance here and I should format it? And I guess it's to date time string. Maybe that's necessary. To date time string on null. How can this be null? Cleanup configuration. You know what? I'm going to also make this a little bit shorter. Cleanup config. Yeah, and older than is 0. Maybe I didn't do it right in the test. Yeah, in the test, of course I didn't use it yet. So here in the cleanup test, I can now use that config thing. Older than days, older than, yeah, let's go for 10 for now. I just want to see that the code gets executed. And yeah, the code gets executed now. So it has done something. So I guess it's assertion time now. But I've been streaming, I think, for like an hour and a half now. It's 24:12. I still feel like I can continue doing this, but I need a little break. So I'm going to take a 5-minute break to give my brain some rest. I actually need that, not only for streams, but also when coding. taking a break now and then. So I'll see you back in 5 minutes. Okay, I'm back. I got some extra water. My brain has had some pause, so we're ready to continue. Um, okay, so we have this test now, and yeah, it's the code runs, but we didn't do any proper assertions yet. So what I want to do next is make this test a little bit easier to read, maybe set this model up a little bit better and have a little bit less boilerplate here, because we probably will have some more tests and I don't want to do all of this for each and every test. So let's see where we can improve it a little bit. So that seed model thing, it's now, I think, a little bit, yeah, I wouldn't say it's weird or undiscoverable, but it isn't immediately clear if you see seed models that we are going to create models for a certain amount of days. And actually this doesn't need to be in this test, I think. So I'm going to move it to like another class. I'm just going to create like a factory of my own. So I'm going to create a class test model factory. And then I can have some static methods on here that do stuff. Or actually I'm going to how am I going to do this? Yeah, I'm going to start with just a static thing for. What are we going to do here? Yeah, I'm thinking in my head, and I probably should say what I'm thinking. I think I want to have like a period here where I accept like a carbon instance and another carbon instance, and for every day between those two carbons I want to have like records created. So I can easily say like this is the start date and this is the end date. I think that's kind of nice, I think. I don't know yet. Let's maybe copy over the code first. So yeah, it's just naming things, right? Maybe we can have like I think I want to have like a public static function new, of course. I want a new method here. Turn new static self. Starting from, and let's give it a carbon instance. Carbon starting from here. Starting from this. Starting from is starting from. Add the property here, which I guess is nullable. for next days. I hope you see where I'm getting at. Number of days. This will also return this self turn this number of days. Yeah. This number of days is number of days. Create. So we have it very explicitly. We start from certain day for the next of days, for the next number of days, create records. That's what we're going to do. Then it's very explicit. Private int number of days, or actually let's set this to null by default. And here we can then create stuff, right? So created that is now. And here we want to have created that. Add day. And yeah, this is a mutable object, right? So I should always do like one day, this number of days, and I guess this is what I want. Let's just test it out in the test here. So what are we going to do is use our test model factory, give it a new. We are going to start from I actually think maybe we should use from previous days and just count back. Maybe that's nicer. So we can just have like now, and for previous days, for the 10 previous days, create test models like that. Now I also want to I think control the value of now, so I can make assertions against the concrete dates of those models, so that in my assertion methods I don't need to have like recalculations. So I know I could use like the carbon method for that, but I'm actually going to pull in our test time package, because maybe I want to manipulate time a little bit, and our test time package is like a package that makes it very easy to do. It's basically a wrapper around those carbon test time functions. This is just way easier to use. If you want more information about that, just head over to the README. I'm very careful of which requirements I pull in for a package, but for dev dependencies, I'm a little bit looser with that, because yeah, package users aren't going to see that. And I'm going to put that in my test case. I'm going to freeze the time. Test time, I'm going to freeze it. And I think the first argument is this, and let's just freeze it at, yeah, maybe New Year or something like that. Like that. Okay. Okay. Let's actually see if we now have the results that we want. So let's maybe DD. We are going to get all the test models, and we are. Why don't I get not found on models test model? Yeah, I guess that's just because I'm in a package context. I'm going to plug created that, and let's see if it gets me the 10 previous days here. Cannot instantiate abstract. Ah, yeah, it's abstract. Actually, it doesn't need to be abstract. Now I can use it. Must be declared abstract or implement gets cleaned up. Yeah. Now I have that problem. Can I have like... No, I can't have like an abstract function in here, because otherwise I must... Yeah, you know what? I'm just not going to make it abstract. Public function. I think I can just, yeah, have like a default implementation here in my anonymous class. It just gets overridden. So maybe that's like the way to go here. So return cleanup config, or just config. Or actually, I just don't need to return it at all. I can just leave it empty if I want to. All right, let's see if my tests, my cleanup test, if I get those dates now. Test model has no column name updated at. Ah, that's why I didn't have that timestamps. Why I did have that timestamps thing on there. But I'm going to try to stick to the Laravel defaults, and I'm just going to do updated that here. Let's see. Yeah, I still have that unserialized thing here. Ah yeah, these are carbon instances, right? Plug. And each of them I want to format to something string-like. Let's see. No. Did I put my DD bracket wrong? No, it's there. Why do I still get these instances here? I get 11 things, so that's something I need to fix. You need map. Ah, yeah, of course, I need map. Yeah, indeed. Thank you, Patrick. Okay, and this is what I expect. So I have like objects for the previous days. But I have, or I have 10 now. No, I have 11 here. It's, we've turned it up to 11, but I want to actually have 10. So I probably should have, I guess the easiest. I wonder if it's more reasonable to have like the -1 here or the -1 here. I'm just going to put it. Nah. I'll just do it here. I think here it's more clear why I do that -1. I hope that people will see like, yeah, it's because that range is 0. If I do the -1 here, then you basically have no context why that -1 is being done here. So that's why I put the -1 in here. And now I should have like, yeah, 10 items here. So this is what I want. Let's go back to the cleanup test here. And let's make it like, what are we going to do? No, I'm going to add a couple of days here, add days. So I'm not going to remove any of, so I can assert that I'm not going to remove any records that are in the future. But should I test that? Yeah, I guess I should, you know, just for completeness. Yeah, we can tweak the numbers a little bit later. So now I'm going to run that command. And then I'm going to assert that some records exist, right? So we are going to maybe assert equals. And what do we actually expect? Which records? So older than 5 days. And we're now at the 30. No, we are now at New Year. So day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. So this is the place where you make off by 1 errors, right? I think that we are going to delete these ones. And these ones should be left alone. But let me, yeah. Let me put back that thing here. Printar. So we have those days in the future as well. Why don't I have the days in the future? Add days. I should have like a number here as well. All right. So now we're starting. Actually, that isn't working. Starting from now. Did I put in now here somewhere? Yeah. Okay. This is wrong. This is starting from. Maybe some of you were screaming at me. Sorry for that. Yeah, and now we start from the 3rd. But now is the 1st, right? But we have some days in the future. Let's do a sanity check. Yeah, this is the current date. I'm going to leave it in for now until we have like a passing test that we're happy with. Let's take a look at the comments. Why didn't you make range start from 1? Well, I didn't make range start from 1 because I also want to have today, the day of today in there. And if I put 1 in here, actually, I don't know if that's true. Maybe I should indeed just have like 1 in here because, yeah, in the first pass we started with the 31st, right? Yeah, maybe we can just do 1 here. Maybe that's better. Yeah, thanks for that suggestion. Like that. Back to the cleanup test. Yeah, this all still works as expected. You know what? Let's actually see what's what our result is after we've called that. And I think this is kind of nice, right? Because we have like for the 5 days here, we have those records and we didn't delete anything from the future. Let's tweak it a little bit. So older than 3 days. And then I expect, I guess, even less records. And yeah, now we have only these 3 here, which is kind of nice. And if I have 2 here, then it's only the 30th, right? Yeah, this is kind of nice. So that will skip a day. I don't think, how's that there are dates skipped here now? So I think we're good. Okay, let's write the assertion here. So I'm going to assert that this is equals to let's maybe try to use some multi-cursor magic here. So here is that, like that. Oh. And here we should have this, I guess. Yeah. And I guess that this should pass. It doesn't pass. Because this should be to array. Oh, not there, of course. Sorry about that. To array, like that. And yeah, we're green. So this is kind of nice. Let me try just a little sanity check. Just do something very wrong and see if it fails now. Yeah, now everything is gone if I don't do that. So I think we have our first good test here. Okay, what I like to do now is, because we probably will write some more tests. And there still is like a lot of kind of boilerplate going on here. So what I want to do now is make this test as clean as possible. So we are going to add some helper methods here so that this test becomes very small and very readable. Let's make a custom assertion for this, so we don't need to repeat this in like every test. So let's do public function assert models exist for days, and it gets an array with dates, right? Like that. And here we are going to, I'm going to just copy in this, assert equals, and these are the dates. Let's make it very explicit. Expected dates. Actual dates. Let's format it a little bit. This is actual dates. Nowadays, I don't like to use the higher order functions that much anymore. Why not? Because I don't have auto-completion after it. And I think with short closures, you still get auto-completion, and you have the benefit that you know what kind of object it is you're mapping over, because the closure on the short, or on the short function, you can type that. So I'm going to change that. So we are going to map over, I'm just going to type the short closure. I hope I can do that, because I rely very much on PHP Storm, just converting a regular function to a short one. So this one gets a carbon, created that, and I want to convert that in a created at format. YMD, and I don't need to do that here anymore. And now, I don't know why I don't get auto completion. Because yeah, we don't know that that the get returns like PHP Storm doesn't know that the get returns something. Yeah, still we have that added benefit that we know that it's a carbon object here. Let's also give some. Are we going to put in the efforts of adding like an actual custom assertion? I have failure message here. Nah, I'm not gonna do that. All is all in there. Yeah, all is in there. Yeah, thanks, Patrick. You've been a great help during the stream here already. Thanks for watching, by the way. Okay, now I have auto completion here, which is nice. And now I can just remove this. I can just use my, or actually I'm going to keep this and exist for days. And now I can remove this junk. And the test should still pass. Yep. And to make it even more lighter, I'm going to move this to the base test here, so that our test case becomes even, or our cleanup test becomes even more smaller. I should also, I could also consider putting like that test into a trait that I can add to here, but I think this test suite won't become too large, so I'm going to put it in test case for now. Okay, that's already a good one. But now this is something that I don't want to repeat. Ideally, I just want to change this config thing. So how are we going to do that? We are also going to put like an extra function in here. So protected function use cleanup config, like that. Let's copy it in here. Use cleanup config, and then what are we going to do here? We are going to just pass a closure here. But now we have the problem that config instance is coming from above, right? We can't return it. My idea was to give it something here. Yeah, but we can just use like a callable here and pass the config that we got given to that callable. Yeah, that's maybe a nice way to go. Or I could also go via the constructor. But I don't want to go via the constructor because I guess that the eloquent model constructor is already taken. That this has like a large constructor. I actually don't know. Wait. Construct. Yeah, I don't want to override that. So I'm not going to do the constructor thingy. I'm just going to give it like a function which gets the cleanup config. And now we can do stuff with that. Cleanup config, older than days. What did we use to? What's the problem here? The signature. Yeah, of course. I should closure like that. Here, closure. I'm going to give it the config object. What's the problem here? Can't it reach in? Because this is like, yeah, this is like an anonymous class. How do I get it in there? Yeah, this is where my knowledge of the anonymous class begins to break a little bit down. I guess it isn't used here because it isn't a function. I should pass it somewhere, I guess. I could do it very explicitly, but it's kind of ugly, right? To have like here like a set cleanup config. Closure. But maybe that's like, yeah, maybe that is like the way to go to do it in here. Okay, I'll just type it out and I'll check the comments for suggestions after that I've done this. So here we can have like cleanup closure. This cleanup closure is cleanup closure. We are going to use this cleanup closure like that. It's not found, but I have it there. Set cleanup closure, and this is basically my idea how to get it in. I don't know if there's like a better way to do this. I'm going to try to use it. Yeah, I've already typed it here, cleanup config. So yeah, maybe this will work. We'll see. Nope. What's the problem here? Call to undefined methods cleanup closure. Did I do something here? Set cleanup closure. This cleanup closure is cleanup closure. No. Do I get here? I don't. Yeah. If anybody can say to me why I'm getting like this framework exception here instead of like my DD, I would be grateful. Is it something here with like exception handling being not the default? No. Caused by unserialized. Yeah, I error at offset. PHP process. Yeah, I don't know why DD isn't working correctly here. Maybe something for later. Okay, I'm going to check the comments to see if new class arguments. Yeah, I'm afraid that if I try to use the constructor, that I also have to do that attributes kind of thing. And I don't want to do it right now. This cleanup closure. Ah, yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, indeed, because it tries to see it as like a function now, and I should use the callable inside of that instance method. Yeah, that's something. Yeah, I always stumble upon and I see it after like 5 minutes. Thanks for the catch again, Patrick. All right, let's try it again. Papa, function name must be a string. What did I do wrong there? So 47. This cleanup closure. I have that closure, right? I have set it to cleanup closure. And now the function name should be a string. I give it a config. This one accepts a config. This, it must be the cleanup closure, right? You know what? I don't know if I can print it out. Let's see. Exception null. So I guess that cleanup closure is null. Probably because we're not using the right instance, I guess, because in the model it has something to do with that, I guess. Cleanup model. Yeah, because we have like a new model here. And this is set on the instance. So I guess we need to make it all static. Static is also so... Ugh. Is there another way to do this? Let's see if it would work statically. Static is not assignable. I guess it's like this. Yeah, it's dynamic, so let's see. This won't be it, right? No, PHP Storm is already... Yeah, this is where we get a little bit into problems, where I'm thinking like the suggestion that was made to not test the command itself, but do it via another way, because now we must have like the same instance there. Will this work? No, x2 undeclared. Stink. Maybe it's something to do with like the weirdness of anonymous, like anonymous classes. I guess this could also be on like the test model, because we extend that, right? No, it can't be. Yeah, I could try to put it all on the this. on the actual model here. No, the DD issue hasn't been fixed as yet. Patrick says you could do this trick with the class model as well, so you don't need that anonymous class. Ah yeah, indeed. I could just do it on the class itself. Yeah. Yeah, that could work. Maybe that's even better. Because that anonymous class thingy, yeah, it's a little bit icky. Okay, let's try just do it on the test model, in the test model itself. So on the test model, we are going to have like the cleanup closure, and I'm going to actually declare it here. So protected, I guess it's static, protected cleanup closure. We start with, actually don't need to do it as null, I guess. And this cleanup I don't need. And this I should import, I guess. Like that. Would that already be enough? On my tests, where's my test? Cleanup test. I don't need this anymore, I guess. I can just do it on test model now. Right. Like that. Would that work? Let's try it. Yeah, that did the trick. Fantastic. All right, let's change this up and see if it fails, and it does. We have that day extra there, and we have, if you have less days, then we have like day missing. So I think this is nice. I kind of like it. So we have now like a very nice way to seed models. We can do a nice setup. We can execute this and assert that. I don't know if we can make it cleaner. Can we maybe, but this is already a too long line. I don't want to have like short closures just because I can use them. I think this is nicer. Let's do composer formats. We only have one test, so our test suite runs now. This is like a good moment to just already push it. Let's see. Okay, so has said without exception handling should fix it. Let's try that again. Merge conflict in test case. What is the problem here? Oh, there are some classes here. Which one is the right one to use? Blueprint, schema, model. I guess it's this one. Yep. So let's try that DD thing again. So let's try to fix that once and for all. So DD tests. Oh, Let's test it. We have that strange error here. So let's do without exception handling. No, I think it's with exception handling, but yeah, so this isn't right. So with exception handling. Right, still doing this. And I know that I fixed this before in another package. So yeah, without isn't working as well. So it's also giving that strange error. Is it something in PHP unit here? Process isolation. I don't think we need process isolation, right? Is it that? Yeah, that's it. Is that actually the default? Yeah, it is the default. So let's just do that. It's something strange that I need. I did that process isolation. I remember having to use that in the PHP 7 days, the early PHP 7 days, when PHP unit couldn't. Yeah, there was something strange with PHP unit then on Travis, and that's why process isolation is on there. Remember, this is a package that is already 5 years old, so there's some weird things in there. So I guess now if I do the test, it'll work. Yeah, that's it. Okay, good. I like it. Okay, so you've seen that I've invested a lot of time to get like a good expressive first test, but this will actually help us in creating other tests, because if I want to add some extra behavior now, it should be pretty easy now. So this is good. Okay. Okay, let's see if we can like add an extra feature here. Where did I put that? In the README? Yeah. Okay, we also want to have like that older than and pass it like a carbon instance, so you can do that yourself. Do we really want that? Yeah, maybe we want that because some people will have like will want to use months and years. We could add some more methods, and probably I will accept some PRs. But I think like a generic older than method will also be handy. So let's add that on the config thing here. Okay. So we have an older than here, and we want to give it a carbon immutable. And yeah, that's just passing that older than. And here we have then older than or older than, right? With an A. Older than, turn self, turn this, like that. Okay, and I guess that's the whole implementation. So we can write another test. It can delete old records for a given that are older than a given number of days, like that. Now we are going to add another test, and I wonder if I want to put this like in a setup method, because I guess I can test almost every function with like this setup. So let's add a function here, a setup. I want to have like the parent thing here, test model factory. like that. Then this becomes even a lighter test. Yeah, and I like it even more because, yeah, good tests have these 3 steps like arrange, execute, and assert. And now we have like one statement for each of those stages. So I kind of like it. So I'm very glad that we put some emphasis on getting this right. Okay, let's add a second test. It can delete all records that are older than a given date, like that. So now we are going to give it like a carbon instance. So it's now, and so things older than these, than 2 days should be deleted. Why is it complaining here? Because oh wait, older than days, older than, it should be here. Why is it complaining now? Carbon immutable. This is carbon immutable. Yeah. What's this? Carbon immutable, carbon provided. Isn't carbon also carbon immutable? That's kind of strange. Let's see what this test does. Let's use the professional way of running tests. Run. All of them must be an instance of carbon immutable, instance of, this is support carbon. Yeah. Yeah. Not carbon immutable, but this should be carbon interface. I think I did it, or did say it right, but typed it wrong. Right? Let's try running that test again. And it runs fine. How awesome is that? Let's run all tests. And yeah, just like that, in a couple of minutes, because we spent so much time on the test, we can now reap the benefits and just adding features very, very quickly. So this is nice. So we've added that. Haas, the problem is already solved. So the problem was that process isolation was on, and that didn't need to be on. So that solved it for us. Now that I have a few running tests, I'm also going to check if on GitHub the tests are running fine too. And it seems like, like a few minutes ago, our test did run fine. This is probably the one test. Yeah, one test. And it also ran fine for the lowest dependency. So I'm kind of happy with that. Okay, what are we going to do next? What's the time? I'm going to do it some more for 20 minutes, and then I'm going to call it a day or a night or whatever you want to call it. The query thing. Yeah, that's also an interesting one to add. So we want to scope it a little bit so that some records get deleted and other not. So this might be something, maybe you have on your model like a status field, and you don't want to delete any of your records with a status of active. You only want to clean up like the statuses like inactive. And you want to scope a little bit the query that will use to delete it. Yeah, so let's try doing that. Okay. We also should have like a test for that cleaned up event, but I'm going to do that afterwards. I'm going to flesh out this first. Cleanup config. What's actually a good name for this? Query, filter, where. Those are all possibilities. I'm going to put query first, so I'm going to, yeah, I'm going to give it a query. And you shouldn't return it to me because this is a, yeah, this is a mutable thing. I'm going to take a break for like 2 or 3 minutes, and I'll be back with you. I need to take care of something, and then we'll do like the last 20 minutes where we will flesh this out. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Let's code a little bit more. Okay, that query thing. No, let me first check the comments because I really appreciate all of your input. Scope. Scope sounds more expressive. Yeah, I was thinking that as well. Yeah, this is, yeah. There's no discussion about the scope is better. Let me think. it's this one. And here, I'm just going to test it out. Here we should have like scope then. Yeah, it's, you should give us like a callable, right? So closure. Scope closure, like that. This scope closure is scope closure. Add the property. This one is no. Like that. Public config. No public config. Yeah, my brain is getting a little bit fried, so that's why we need to stop in a few minutes. So here we'll get our query. Yeah. Number of deleted records will come if we call delete on our query. If cleanup config scope closure, then yeah, and I'm not gonna forget the brackets now. And we'll give it the query, right? Like that. Is that the whole of our implementation? Let's see if our current tests still pass. I don't need this. Our current tests still pass, so that's pretty nice. Let's create a new test. I'm going to copy the last one. It can use a scope to make, how do I say this? To make, to, yeah, how do I say that in English? Yeah. Can use a scope to blah blah blah. Let's test it first and we'll see how we're going to call that. So I'm going to, I think, just immediately test like the two together. So older than days. Scope. Oh, wait. Scope here. Scope. And I must accept like a eloquent builder here. Query. Where this is kind of interesting because I only want to delete I wonder if the older than days and scope should be like an and or an or relationship. Like, are you going to yeah, further on filter on the results, or should you be able to delete more than older than days? That's kind of interesting question. Let's see what the public says about this. Scope sounds more expressive. Would it be nice to define older than days using in terms older than? Or do you prefer the current approach? Yeah, right now we have older than and older than days. So users can choose. And I think it's fine like that. An and scope and an or scope. Yeah. But what is the default then? If we have like scope and scope. I think how I would use it, I think the and scope is better by default because it's safer. I think. Just thinking a little bit and reading the comments. It should be and, like where, and should be the default. Or operations can be done inside the scope. Yeah, let's make it and. Yeah, so you can only delete what is being done here, right? Well, let's take a look at the command itself. Yeah, and that's basically how it works, right? Because if you put like a where in the closure, then a where will be added here, and then it's and, right? Yeah. We probably are going to add a test for this to make sure of that. So what are we going to do here? Yeah, how are we going to write this test? I think that we need to have like an extra field on our model, I guess, because otherwise what are we going to test here? Yeah, let's put a field on there. So I'm going to my test case. Table string, and we'll have a status, and the default value is active, like that. Our test should still pass. I know I did something wrong. Yeah, I'm busy here. Yeah, I guess that this should still pass if I don't do anything extra with the query. Yeah. What am I going to do here? Yeah, I'm going to make one record inactive, and I'm going to assert. Yeah, okay, let's do that. So we are going to query where status is inactive. We are going to make one of the records inactive. So model, test model, where, let's say, created at let's do 2019 12/29. Can I do this? Status inactive. So now only that record from the 29th should have been deleted, I guess. No such column. This is something I do wrong a lot. Put a comma there, but it should be an arrow. Let's see. And it didn't delete that record. So maybe this update query is wrong. Does this actually return the updated records? Int, yeah, it does. Did we actually update the record like this? Yeah, I forgot the timestamp maybe. Yeah, now we updated one record, so maybe it was just that. Yeah, and now the 29th is gone because we only deleted the inactive record. But is that a good enough test? I wonder. Yeah, it's a good first test, I guess, for this behavior. So let's actually add the other ones here. Let's use a little bit of multi-cursor magic. Oh, whoa, what's this? Maybe the multi-cursor. I hope the multi-cursor thing will work. Oh. Let's just do it manually for now. Like that. Like that. Comma. I guess this one will pass. Yeah. Can use the scope to filter records to be deleted. Yeah. Okay, that's good. Where date? Yeah, maybe I can use where date here. No test executed. I can just do all tests. Yep, this is better. Thanks, Patrick. Again. Let's add a test to make sure that we don't delete any other records outside of the records that we want to delete. So yeah, I'm already going to commit this because this obviously works. Like that. What's this thing here? I got to move that to the test class, base test class as well. So it will not, using a scope, will not delete any records beyond what not selected by older than. Yeah, something like that. How will it behave when we actually don't have that older than thing? Let me go to the code. Yeah, if we don't use older than, then it should also work. We're going to add a test for that as well, because that one will now fail. Because I think that some people will just be able to use, or just want to use, like, only the scope. Let's make them all inactive. And we should get the same results as this test, I guess. Let's try that out. Yeah. So that's good. So everything is inactive, but we didn't delete these ones, even though they were inactive. All right, but now what are we going to do is, if there is no older than used, then the scope can target any record, right? And now I'm deleting everything. So now we are just going to, I don't know if I want to delete everything, because I think maybe where date. I want to see that the scope is actually being used. So where date, created that, is maybe I just want to leave new year alone, and the rest is inactive. Oh, did I delete an extra character here? Yeah. All right. So this test here, to datetime string on null. Ah, yeah, that's basically the error that we have to fix. So we only need to do this if there is an older than, right? So if cleanup config older than, then we should do this with the query, right? Oh. This isn't right. So I expected only this one to be here. Ah, it's yeah, I did something wrong in the test. Is there a where not date? I actually don't know that. It doesn't seem like there is. Can I do this? Yes, I can. Okay, now this test runs, and all the tests run. So this is kind of nice. Yeah, David, this is PHP Storm. So this is, yeah, kind of good. Yeah, I'm getting those this kind of messages because I forgot to do like the formatting locally before pushing. Let's do it now for the new changes. So yeah, that's nice. Let's see here. We tackled these ones. I only need to do these two now to have that other behavior, but it's already getting kind of late, so I'm going to call it a day or night for now. And if there's like a good moment where my kids are asleep, where I can add these functions, maybe I'll do that on a stream as well. So we, yeah, you can see that too. Or if anybody wants to try to do this, I'd accept a PR that adds these methods. So yeah, I hoped that you enjoyed the stream. Oh wait, Tom Jansen still has a question. Should scope not return this so it can be chained? Yeah, I'm guessing it should. Yeah, indeed. Good catch. So let's add that. Like that. And that's it. Okay, I'm off. I hoped that you enjoyed this. Let me know on Twitter or in the chat here, and yeah, I'll consider doing a stream to add these two methods. If you feel like you're up to it, just send a PR for them. Make sure to add tests, because this package is about like deletion of records, and I don't want to have an issue like, hey Frick, there is like a bug in your package and now we deleted a million production records because of it. So I want to be very, very reliable. So add tests if you decide to PR something. We're on the V3 branch here. So that's everything that I have for you. Good night and see you next time. Bye bye.